Hey folks, what if I told you that one of the best mapping skills in the game is actually a single target skill? And what if I also said that in 0.4 the damage on what you're seeing here was buffed by about 40%? And then this same Amazon shell might be one of the best shapeshifters in the coming patch if you were planning on going bear or wyvern, which I plan on experimenting with. It's also an extremely fast mapper, excellent at bossing, and Amazon neatly ties a bow around what I expect to be an extremely annoying problem for the new talisman shapeshifters in charge generation. This is the build I played almost all of patch 0.3. A Voll's Protector Amazon running Nova Falling Thunder, a tanky one-button all-content build. Nova Projectiles turns our single target skill into a map-clearing monster, now without the 40% less damage. We generate the vast majority of our projectiles through power charges, and so trading 4 projectiles for 40% more damage is extremely worthwhile. Now, I said a lot, so let me dig into some of the important things. Probably the best place to start is charge generation. GGG's design philosophy for combo gameplay heavily limits single target skills, often requiring a bunch of work to create a scenario where you can spend charges. Voll's Protector provides charge generation that is desperately needed and was buffed this patch. However, there are some pretty substantial downsides. One, it's weak defensively. Armor without investment isn't great, and it doesn't have a lot of ES. Thankfully it was buffed a little bit this patch, but an important thing in 0.4 is an increase in the damage reduction on bosses when they first spawn in. This means being durable and being able to take a few hits is going to be important. The second problem we need to solve is infrequent charge generation, 25% chance per crit, and crit capping is not the easiest thing in Path of Exile. The best solution, in my opinion, is the Amazon Ascendancy, which can make you incredibly tanky. Stalking Panther neatly works around the bad chest piece by doubling the values of evasion on your other pieces of gear. My character is running around 4.5k EHP, 70% evade, 50% deflect, and comfortably farmed all content through all the hardest things the game had to offer. Mystic Harvest also means we get Life Leech, which feels incredibly good. And that's Life Leech from our elemental damage, of which we do a lot. If you wanted to go full on Immortal, you could even go Essentia Sanguis, but I never really felt the need. Now that second problem, infrequent charges, is also annoying. However, crit capping with Amazon is among the easiest in the game. We're an attack build with a decent amount of accuracy, and the critical strike ascendancy almost doubles my crit chance for my main hand. Reliably critting it itself isn't enough though, and in 0.3, the enabling of instant weapon swap is what really made this build possible. I'm using weapon swap points to lean into attack speed on my main hand, and I'm leaning into damage on my secondary. Meaning, when I hit really hard, and I don't need to combo, which is usually how Invokers and other classes play Falling Thunder. My main hand attack speed in this configuration is almost 8 times per second, and it's an AoE skill, meaning a pack of mobs basically instantly generates all of our charges, and on bosses it takes a couple seconds. Now to show you what this looks like, let me demonstrate what charge generation looks like. I want you to watch the power charges in the upper left hand of the screen. Falling Thunder, as it pierces and chains around, will also be critting and generating charges, as does Herald of Thunder. Coupled with a high attacks per second movement skill in Whirling Slash, and we go fast, like really fast. I'm using a Sky Sliver in my main hand, and even without any movement speed on our gear, this is every bit as fast as a Deadeye. Now the second, I think, most interesting thing I said in the intro is about shapeshifting. Why might Amazon be the best package for it? That's because in the reveal they said most of the actual skills for shapeshifters are gated behind slow time-based charge generation or war cries to gather endurance or power charges for the bear and wyvern. Now, as I showed just a second ago, charge generation is mostly solved and Amazon neatly works around the downside. We're well positioned in the tree to take resonance, which gives us endurance charges instead of power charges, which could enable both wyvern and bear payoff skills. And I fully intend to try and abuse rapid charge generation to its maximal potential on a talisman offhand. Not only that, Amazon is well positioned in the tree to take advantage of the strongest crit nodes, and we have easy rage generation from Whirling Slash. Now, I have to caveat, we don't know what the passive tree looks like. However, historically, the right side and specifically the bottom right side of the tree has always been much stronger than basically everywhere else. For wyvern and bear, I fully expect to Whirling Slash around the map quickly and then instantly swap over to a bear or wyvern skill and spend the charges that I've been building, just like I'm doing here with Falling Thunder. Now as a backup, if all the charge spenders feel terrible to play, I can still play Falling Thunder, which I know is going to be very good. For bossing, the gear stays the same. If you want more damage on pinnacle bosses, you can swap into Rakiatas or Garakans, which depending on how you were playing was either buffed or nerfed, but you don't have to. There is more than enough damage to one-tap basically everything. I like one-button builds. In fact, my main challenge each league is trying to figure out how to remove all the combo gameplay and turn it into something that I enjoy playing. The gearing requirements for this build aren't that bad. We don't need movement speed on boots, which is often the affix that costs the most to acquire. The most important piece, the offhand quarterstaff for Falling Thunder, can be deterministically crafted, even with the removal of the homogenizing exalt, and I'll show you how to do that a bit later. I made my endgame weapon for about 10 divines last league by sequencing essences. Sky Sliver is somewhat rare, but not wildly so, and you can use a rare spear without any issues. What I'm still working on is a full leveling progression, and I'll be working on that over on Twitch over the next couple days. Feel free to stop by or say hi or ask questions, or if you just want to see what the build looks like. I'll be putting my progression notes on Mobalytics, just as like I did in previous leagues, and you can follow along there. Alright, that's all I've got for now. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.